In this episode, we explore self-respect and unity within the Black community.
Bought the okie doke. She was deep in the trance, and she wasn't even making no sense. Because when you say African Americans, it don't got no penis swinging. It's penis and vaginas. It's everybody. It don't mean just men. And she knows that when she's not in her defensive trance. And we all know that when we say African Americans, that we're talking about the whole community. But when you're in the trance and you bought the white supremacy medicine, you don't know that you're not only have been insulted, but you're actually activating the insult yourself for white people. Because that makes no sense. And Ice Cube was, we don't have to retread on that, but he was doing something for all of us. And he was, and we should have been insulted by Biden willing to have a conversation with Cardi B, who ain't even Black, who's an imposter, instead of Dr. Tommy Curry or somebody with a analysis that went to their school, who's a scholar, who have a PhD on their terms, who could break stuff down in ways that we can actually get that's meaningful. They're playing us, and we should be insulted by Cardi B. Could you imagine Ozzy Osbourne being who white folks interviewed for a political position? It's the equivalent. They would never do that. So we need to have enough sense to be insulted. But you have to love yourself in a white supremacist suit to have enough clarity to be insulted. You have to stop calling yourself an N-word, which implies your lack of worth on a daily basis, to have the clarity to be insulted. So I hope parents are watching this so they can put a wrench into the conveyor belt of anti-Blackness that comes out of Black families inadvertently because of a lack of critical analysis and cultural affirmation.
And Brandon, is there anything you want to add before I?
Sure. I think the Cardi B is another example of something that's brought to us that looks like entertainment, but it really is a disrespectful insult to us as a people. Yep. When we're talking about serious matters, and you bring in an entertainer who's not being serious. I mean, she may act like she's being serious, but even in that, she's doing a bird call and she's patting her head and all types of. It's like at some point in time, we have to have Black self-respect and demand it from other people. And in order to do that, we have to be able to use critical thinking skills and shift from that anti-Black kind of trance that we're in. And one thing that I want to add before we close, I think this is important because we started off by talking about Black male and Black female relationships and dynamics. Oftentimes when you hear these conversations, and I've been peeking at a lot of them with all these, virtual town halls and webinars, things like that. What is the answer that all Black people who are confused say we need? We need love. We need love. That we always say we need love, right? Which we do. But see, we haven't even broke down what Black love is supposed to be look like. We think love is an emotional state, so we just all love each other. Everything's going to be okay. But we need Black self-respect, and our love needs to be in action form. We need to do things for the intention of being better. That's what Black love is. It's not just an emotional state. It's in our actions of really trying to take our community to the next level.
I want to reiterate, if I can, Kelly, that getting back to where Brandon brought us, which was the focus on gender dynamics, this biracial, probably for sounding obsessive, but this is just a reality, a strategic reality. This biracial push by the press and by the majority of America's corporations in terms of their commercials and the disproportionate replacement of dual Black parented people with biracial families is an insult. And it's creating a false narrative that they hope will be behaviorized, which is going to have some impact. It's like a lot of our children choose the white doll. The goal of teaching Black people to not look at Black people as objects to love or people to love and build relationships with and build joy with. That's what the media is implying, and it's feeding into the divide. It's difficult to find in popular culture a Black man loving a Black woman down, loving a sister with all her heart, all his heart, and a Black woman loving a man with all. It's very, very difficult, but you can find him hanging off of white folks or somebody who's biracial. I'm not saying to the biracial people that's watching this that something's wrong with you. Again, I'm talking about an external agenda of using people, certain types of people, to create disorientation or disorienting dilemma among Black people, so we can stop or never get enough clarity to love each other and resolve our issues. If we don't value each other and look at each other as who we should love, then we're not going to be loyal to each other. And that's another reason for the biracial agenda, because the more Black people who are chasing white folks like crack, then the more of us who are not going to be loyal to Blackness, because we have white in-laws now. And we have white people that we love every day in our bed who we do not want to offend. I mean, look at people like Lee Daniels and others who never critique racism in any kind of real way, because they don't want to affect who they're in love with. So the biracial agenda is another strategy piled on top of things we've already talked about, which is the most basically new agenda. Because as I said before, there was a time when they wouldn't have pushed biracial, but they're worried about their numbers, and they're using Black bodies as surrogates. I want you to hear what I'm saying. They're using Black bodies as white survival surrogates, because just like they did in Peru, in Argentina, in parts of Brazil, and parts of Azania, particularly in as a part of Azania, Cape Town, they have created light-skinned people who will be called Black in this country, who only marry each other, and white people because white people want to produce more whiteness because they can't do it independently. So they're making us surrogates. And I can prove everything I'm saying. All you gotta do is watch television. If you read statistics on who Black people are marrying, so far, and it's gonna change, but so far, most Black people are marrying Black people. So what they're pushing in the press is a mythological narrative to have a certain outcome that looks like that. That's not really true right now.
Right.
So we have to be mindful of all of the different things that are being done for the purposeful intent of making sure that Black men and women are not like this. Even that article that came out that said Black men are the white supremacists of the Black community, they did something unprecedented. They published that article twice. Mm-hmm. Usually an article is, published once, they go into the net. They republished it twice because the white supremacists behind the agenda wanted to get their hit in to keep the confusion going. And I'm going to reiterate, because I'm glad Brandon brought us back to focus, is that sisters, Black girl magic is cool. Black girl, what's all the different lines? Black girl magic.
Amplified Black voices is pretty much Black girl magic. I mean, there's a lot of them. That's say her name.
Yeah, and I can't think of all of them now, but you deserve that, absolutely. But that you're doing it separate from Black men, and that Black men are not involved or being also given some encouragement to be healed and seen and resolved, is dangerous. Right. Black girl magic on an island by itself alone is dangerous. Ain't no such thing as white girl magic. As a matter of fact, half the people that supported Trump to get in the office didn't care that he was a pussy grabber. They were women.
Yeah.
Because they were concerned about white power on a macro level.
Right.
Damn their vaginas. They were looking at the issue of macro power. Well, right. You got to get off that you spend some time on the girl magic island and chill, enjoy yourself, to take a boat to Black men. And actively challenge the idea of a perpetual narrative that only says Black girl magic, without talking about people like Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and Walter Scott and Eric Garner. Yes, the sister that was murdered in Texas. That's important, but do not take the main target, since we've been in this country, who are murdered and killed and incarcerated the most, which does not mean your pain is irrelevant, sisters. I ain't saying that for a minute. When I was 16 years old, I was involved in the Violence Against movement as a teenager. So I'm down for that. But I also am real clear this late date in my life about the electronic modern day contextual lynching of Black men in concert to the police brutality, which is in your face, that we can all see. That's not good enough for us to have compassion for Black men. You're being seduced with all this black girl magic, and I forget this three or this, you know those lines, Cal. You the woman.
Black girls rock.
Yeah,
Say
there
her
it is.
name. Uplift black voices. It's all the same concept.
And I support them, but not by yourself. And remember your babies, the black boys, you know, that you're raising, who are living amidst a narrative where you have magic and they don't. You should have magic. You've been through it and you're still going through it. When it comes to black people, black women are the ones who go through it when it comes to women. And when it comes to men, black men are the ones who go through it. And black men are hurting.